Good evening, good evening, good evening, you all. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. Before we do the usual disclaimers, I'm sorry I'm later than usual. I'm recovering autistic, my pseudo autistic bubble of nope, as Paul over there would call it, is being reinforced at the moment. Because, yeah, family gatherings, masking nonstop for at least an hour or two, although not as draining as doing it for 8 hours straight, is still draining. So, a little bit later than usual. And to the disclaimers, if you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by Neuroclastic, a small non-for-profit started by Autistics for Autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called Behavior Modification Program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened Neuroclastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Neuroclastic refused. You guys know the drill. Please read the article. Share on all your social media. Also included is Neuroclastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. All your trigger warnings. I'm not doing it 1, 2, 3. We're just going to go right through it. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you have young children present, please use your headphones. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We do use profanity and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, parental supervision is advised. JRC is known for being like the gaslighting kings and queens of planet Earth. You're going to, while being with me on this channel, get a whole lot of different variations on the old but goody, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? Alright? They will also try to trick you into throwing in behaviors that may not actually have anything to do with them being neurodivergent whatsoever. Example, in regards to LE, whose story we're finishing up today, some of the traits of the so-called behaviors that they need to shock out of the kid are not behaviors at all. They are bodily reactions that one experiences before, during, and after a grand mal seizure. They also played fast and loose with the truth in regards to that one student aide, where if that aide wasn't there, nobody else could control the kid. Really? Because having been through the service system myself, as well as worked within the service system, and still acting as a mentor program that's been out here in Missouri for quite some time, interacting with people first in all the various groups out here, and national and international. The JRC, they are notorious for being mum on details, except to paint someone as bleakly as they possibly can. They're going for the shock factor. If they can shock you just enough using the extremist language to describe us, then possibly they could even get you to agree with their torture and the sleep deprivation and the food deprivation, because if they can make you think that we are essentially Hannibal Lecter in a straitjacket, that you'll come right on board with them, or at the very least, look into the situation no further. Okay? I know it's that tactic because they have been triggering me and all the other advocates, service providers, doctors, experts in new experimental research for over 40 years. Okay? So, that's why we like to dissect these. I like to open it up so you can see what it is that they're not saying. And I also, as you all know, truly, truly like to call people out on their batshit insane, delusional. You get where we're going here, all right? Okay, so where we left off the other day. Now, for parents, because I've had to deal with this, folks, I'm lucky in who my mom is. The reason why I say that is because by some means I can't understand or put my finger on, she always knows when I'm putting up a mask. I could literally fool every single body else in the room, but she knows when I mask. That is not a very common trait amongst parents who have kids like me. Why I am talking about masking for like the last 3 to 4 episodes, it's because all of us at some point learn to mask, which means we craft a completely separate public persona to step into, like you're getting ready to change shoes, for when we have to go out and deal with the public, for when we have to deal with teachers or parents. The main reason why we do it, a lot of times, it's about survival, folks. It's about survival. I am 40 years old. I've been aware of my diagnosis since age 18. I have been doing major advocacy since 2006. I have yet to meet in all that time, and all the people I have met, and all the places that I have been to, I have yet to meet a single soul that is neurodivergent that hasn't been abused, exploited, secluded, and gaslit to hell yet. The main differing part of it is just from where that emotional and physical abuse was coming from. Direct care staff, special ed teachers, school bullies, school teachers, siblings, doctors. It's a pretty long list. Okay? So, literally, the idea is to put on a persona, smile, act engaging. Act, and it really is an act. And for me, this particular one is utterly and completely exhausting. Pretending to care about the small talk, the smiles, the acceptable body language. Please shoot me. Okay? But we learn to smile on cue. We step into that separate persona that we use when we have to be out in public, when we are forced to people, and it all comes from a survivor's instinct. We have something deeply embedded into us that if we don't show these people what they want to see and be able to sell them completely, regards of showing them what they want to see, well, JRC's prime example, they slap you back onto the torture device, don't they? They throw you in secluded rooms, a lot of times even forgetting you're in the room with the teacher going home and you're still stuck in the fucking closet. I've had stories for over the last 3 to 4 years that would turn your hair white about that specific situation alone. Okay? So we essentially give ourselves acting lessons. We find someone that we either admire, which is why the persona I used is based off my mom, or we will choose somebody who looks like one of the best people who are the best at socializing that we come across. And we study and we imitate their mannerisms, their inflections, their tones until it's perfect. And then that's the public persona. So that we are not drugged back into the abusive situation. Okay? The reason why I mentioned this so many times on this channel is because the JRC and the parents who drink the Kool-Aid are going to repeat this until Judgment Day when the last horn sounds. Okay? Do you know how many times I pretended that I was happy? How many times I would pretend that everything was wonderful? How many times I would do things that if I were not being forced to for survival, I'd rather be shoved into a hobbit hole and not come out for the next 50 years. We do it to survive. We do it so that we can do things like get jobs out in the community. We do it so that either direct care staff, our doctors, or our workers decide that we're getting worse again. So we're going to be dragged back into something that is just abusive that they would swear up and down is going to save you. That's why we do it. And unfortunately, particularly for the neurodivergent sitting around my age range, we have learned to do it so damn well that we can convince everyone, that we are happy, we are engaged, we are excited to be there, when that's not the case at all. So, when the JRC uses lines like, the whole world has opened up, like they are now a part of a group, something they never had before. If you really think we want to be doing any of that shit of our own free will, I got beachfront property in Kansas with the most amazing Italian inspired villa where you could just see the whales jump, and sometimes if you look really hard you'll see a sea unicorn. Okay? That's how ridiculous that is. Okay? If you know anything about most of us, there are times that, yes, we'll be so-so. Those time periods are usually spent with those, whether we know it or not, apparently, who are also neurodivergent. Fact of the matter is, even basing my persona off my mom was still lacking for a long time. I didn't get to the point where I could do things, speak publicly, and do the advocacy work that I've done until I started hanging out with fellow neurodivergents. That was the defining moment that fully, truly brought me out of my shell. Because I can't describe how different it is, how safe it is, how unjudged I feel when I'm in a room surrounded by my own and there is no expectations put on me, where nobody's trying to get me to act a certain way socially, where nobody's trying to make me be engaging like the life of the party when I'm not. But I'm just in a group of my own people. There's no judgments, there's no expectations. We can all engage in one of our favorite love languages, which is info dumping to our heart's delight. And when I tell you info dumping is my love language, I can't overestimate that. All right? When you see that more publicly acceptable persona, it is done for survival, and as we get into adulthood, it's so that the neurotypicals around us will leave us the fuck alone. Yeah. Okay? Or as you get around my age, it's you'll even mask during seeing the doctor so that hopefully you don't have them bringing up an incident from like when you were in the 4th grade and you threw a desk into the wall like it was a shot put and you were in the Olympics. Okay, fine, that was me. That was me. Sorry, not sorry. I did not take to bullying well. It doesn't matter what people like the JRC and the Kool-Aid drinking parents tell you, because they're seeing what they want to see. And we will mask to show them what they want to see on the slim chance that we can get out without any further abuse, psychological or physical, is being dealt to us. Okay? So I'm sorry, but I cannot take those parents' word for it. And there's another reason for that, too. The times when these kids are out with their parents are remarkably short time periods. You're talking about a 2-hour period going out to lunch every day. But I could never do it before. Well, what did I just say? The best I started to like reshape and hone my masking skills to where it is now is on the advice of other neurodivergents in my age group and their suggestions, okay? That's what happens when you get a group of us together. We defend our own, we give advice to one another, we help one another, perfect our masks, because in our generation, there was no separate yourself from the mask. None of us even thought that was a dream that would ever happen for any of us, which is very sad. But you see what I'm saying here, right? That's a short time span. I can mask for 2 hours without even losing a sweat. It depends on the situation. Going out to lunch, masking for 2 hours Closing out the conversations of all the idiots around me is a cakewalk. Same 2 hours spent at a holiday gathering. It's different because everybody's closer together. The sounds from everywhere are a lot easier to hear. And don't get me started on how detestable that I feel, strangely enough, physically as well as mentally, in regards to pastel colors. I can't even begin to explain to neurotypicals how weird and whacked our sensory experiences are. You know, I don't think I'll ever be able to properly put that into words. Okay. So it depends on the situation, but generally, even that situation, we can mask without dropping the mask for a single second, no problem. But they also go home and do weekends too, and they still seem happy. I have been known to wear the same mask and keep up the persona without stopping. Longest period of time was 3 years. 3 years. Non-stop. Maybe closer to 2.5. It's when I was living with my aunt and uncle those last 2 years of high school. Okay? Yeah. Masking 2 days straight without stopping or giving any hint that what I'm showing you is actually not what I was feeling at the moment, I can do that. Most of us can, to one extent or another. So, I'm sorry, Kool-Aid drinking Karen and JRC, but I'm still not selling what you're buying because I've worked in this field and I've been just like the students that are at your school. I can tell you why they get so good at showing you and their parents what they want to see. It's just you dumb fucks were too busy patting yourselves on the back instead of realizing nothing has actually really changed at all. Okay? Some of us like group gatherings as long as we're in a group of our own. If you put me in a room that's full of nothing but neurodivergence and we're all info dumping, perfect peace. You put me in the exact same room and it's the same amount of people with the only difference being one rooms are the neurodivergents, the other rooms are full of neurotypicals, you're gonna see a difference. A massive difference. Okay? We do these social activities. We do these things that are out of character for us. Because if we can get you to believe that we are, quote unquote, getting better, it might mean we can get the hell out of there. Point blank, right? Okay, I went a little further into that than I intended to, but the JRC does this. The Kool-Aid drinking parents do this. And they never address the fact that so many of us do learn to mask. They would rather say, oh no, it's surely all us, when they've actually accomplished literally goddamn nothing. They have not found what the triggers are. They have not provided self-soothing techniques, alternative behavior. Hell, even a single small, Dollar Tree small punching bag would suffice. Punching bags are kind of my go-to. I don't know what to tell you. It's probably because I grew up around guys. But it doesn't mean what you're seeing is actually what's real. Okay? That's my main point. Many of us learned how to trick our parents in regards to that persona at relatively young ages. We know what they want to see, and that's what we give them. And they may never know that we are actually in that situation completely miserable, or how exhausted we are afterwards for having to keep up that mask and keep up that persona doing the things that are so out of character for us. Okay? This is why I can't take parents' word in regards to their kids as the truth all the time. There are some almost like ESP psychic level moms like mine that can read me like a book. I could be giving my Academy Award, as Bugs Bunny said, performance, and my mom's going to look at me. Uh-huh. So, would you like to get out of the house and go to the park out here and get some quiet? There's no tricking that woman. You get what I'm saying. All right. I've gone over that enough. I'm dragging this out. So, I need to actually read this thing to you. So we can go ahead and close out for the evening. Okay. According to LE's mother, JRC has saved her daughter. She observed the change in her daughter with ESD treatment. She's gone from a person that is isolated and medicated and injured and unhappy to a young person that is happy and able to live in the world and experience what other people experience. And that's why I have been hammering so hard on you all what I have been in regards to masking. You're not saving us at all. You have condemned us to hell. Allow me to be blunt with you, parents. You know what this school is. There have been news reports about this place, and the rumors have been around for decades. Decades. The fact that you will ignore that completely, including court investigations and documents, documents detailing second and third degree burns, cuts, bruises, punch bruises in the face, the jaw, the stomach, the spine, the torso. But when you come to visit your child, they're putting on a happy face and telling you what you want to hear. That means you are willfully ignoring what the facts really are to believe in a fantasy and a lie. You holding on to that fantasy condemns your child to hell. Okay? Point blank. I'm tired of being nice about it. This place has been open since the 80s. 6 kids are dead because of the negligence, the indifference, and the barbarous cruelty that's inflicting on those kids every single day. This place is considered literally a joke, even within ABA circles. And considering what some of those programs look like, it's kind of really fucking saying something here. If you are a parent and something is that vastly different, in spite of how you know they do it, it is your job as a goddamn parent to figure out whether what your kid is showing you is masking or real. If you have two goddamn brain cells that rub together in your head and you have like a single smidge of sense in your brain, you would be able to understand that even if we are giving an Oscar performance in front of you, that any place that would shock a child multiple times with electricity just below the lethal limit, especially when we know that police tasers have been known to literally stop hearts. And you're talking about a place that is using a device on your kid that is literally 84 in pH. But they're showing you the picture that you want to see. It's a mask. You are allowing yourself to live in the fantasy that these psychopathic, evil sons of bitches are selling you. One day, the price and the consequences of your actions and your willingness to ignore every single red flag on planet Earth is going to come home to roost. Okay? Learn when it's masking and when it's not. If what a person is selling you is a treatment program that's based on a punishment model that has been used to torture and horrifically abuse not just neurodivergents, but the same models are being utilized in every single goddamn evangelical tough love camp and school system that goes up and down the Bible Belt. Okay? It's your job as a parent to not be sold a fantasy. You owe it to your child, who never asked to be here, to make sure nobody is horrifically abusing them. Your peace of mind that is built on a lie is not more important than our ability to live in an environment that is completely and utterly abuse free. And that is a hill I am more than happy to die on. We're going to close on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.